Wondering what's happening with duplexes and triplexes and fourplexes on the west and south side of Portland? Well, you're in the right place. We're going to talk about that today. This is my July 2026 market report for 2, 3, and 4 unit properties specifically. And as far as I know, I'm the only person who compiles this report because also, as far as I know, I'm the only person who is only focused on these properties. Why am I only focused on these properties? Because I love them and I own a whole bunch of them myself. I think they're fantastic investment products for regular people like you and me. So let's have a look and see what's going on the west side. Now, as you might know, the west side compared to the east side is the smaller side when it comes to like volume of these properties. So there's always going to be fewer data points here for our comparison, but we're going to have a look at what's going on anyway. When I create these reports, the first thing I always get to do is figure out which columns do I want to have. I'm always going to have, of course, our most recent column, but I've decided in this case to compare to 4 months ago. So we have an intra 2026 comparison. And then I went back a little over a year ago to 13 months ago in June of last year, 2025, so that we can see kind of what's changing, if there's any trends over time. So let's dive in here and have a little look at what's going on. There are 21 of these properties currently on the market, whereas there were only 12 back in March. Maybe that's some seasonality, probably is, but the fact that that number is nearly double is a good thing. But it's pretty similar to where it was 13 months ago as well. We've had 3 new ones come on the market in the last 30 days, which yeah, is not too different than that. The normal pace of new duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes being listed on the west side. Um, we've got an average price of 968,000. These are is an average of 2.5 units per property. So let's have a look at the price per unit. So our price per unit right now is $387,000, whereas it was 416 just a few months ago and 323 before that. So there is some variance here in these numbers. What does that mean? Well, price per unit does not by itself say what types of units are these, right? If you have a duplex of 2 studios and a fourplex of four, 3 bedroom, 2 baths, those are going to be very different prices per unit. So the other thing that we do then that kind of right sizes all this as much as possible is to look at the price per square foot. And our price per square foot being asked right now in the market is $306, where it was 313 before, very similar, and 278 before that. Also fairly similar. So I'm glad to see not a tremendous amount of variance there. But the question is that price per square foot working? And the fact that the average days on market for these 21 active listings is 132 days suggests that these numbers they're not yet working. 132 is a relative number, right? In an insanely slow market, that seems pretty fast. In a faster market like we've had, up until probably 2023, this 132 seems like a very oddly large number. It was only 75 before and 73 before that. So this number does, I don't know if it concerns me, but it does jump out as something that's really interesting. It suggests, is this set of prices per unit and prices per square foot, is it working? Not yet. It's not working just yet. We do have one property that's pending. Turns out the average of one property comes out to each of these one properties is $1.2 million, and it took nearly 3 months to get it pending. When we looked at this before, we had 3 pending ones and 5 pending ones, but they took a lot long. Well, this one took a lot longer at 119 days, a little faster there in June of last year. So if we didn't have any pendings, I'd be very concerned because like, ooh, we're gonna clog in the whole pipeline. But I'm glad there's at least one. Let's have a look at how many have closed in the last 90 days. Well, that number is also only one. Ugh, I really wish that was higher. It was 7 in March, and it was 5 last year when we did this in the middle of the year. So it does show that things have kind of like gotten the whole pipeline is a little bit clogged up. Things are not moving through very well. The one that did close at a price per square foot of $261 per square foot. So I always like to compare. $261 per square foot is what got that deal done, right? That's an average of one. So it's minimal statistical significance, but $261 a square foot is what got the deal done there. And $306 is what's currently being asked. So we see, 45 bucks per square foot difference between what's working and what's not working. And that one got done in only 7 days. So that suggests maybe this one was either underpriced or it had kind of a value add component. Maybe it's a bit of a fixer in that sense as well. But it was a price per square, or sorry, a price per unit of 475, which is pretty high compared to the price per unit of 387 that we have now. So when we have a small data set, it is always interesting because any fluctuations in the data set make huge changes to the averages, right? If there were thousands and thousands of these properties, these averages would probably be a lot more closely representative of the whole market. Whereas here we have a smaller data set, so we get to take it for what it's worth. But when we look back, in March, it took 98 days to get the 7 properties closed that had closed then. And we looked back last year, it took 85 days to get those 5 properties done. So this one is probably a bit of an exception in that sense, but the data does suggest overall, we can certainly draw the conclusion that our days on market is pretty high, and we might be swinging for the fences here just a little too much on the active properties because otherwise we'd see more pending and we'd see more closed. I also always like to look at how many properties went on the market and then didn't, they're off the market now, but not because they sold. And the answer now is 5. 5 in the last 90 days have been pulled off through either the listing expiring, the listing being canceled, or the listing being withdrawn, which usually means they plan to put it back on the market later. Well, I guess it's good that number is a little smaller than it has been at 9 the last couple times, but we had of all the properties that came off the market, 1 is because it came off the market for a good reason because it sold, and 5 came off the market because they gave up or decided to quit one way or the other. So I wish that number was a little bit better, but these sellers here are still holding out for something that may or may not happen. It might just take longer. We will see because we will continue to look at this data. So these are averages, but what's not an average is your unique situation. Your situation, your property is a one of one. If you have a property, 2, 3, or 4 units, duplex, triplex, fourplex that you want to sell, we should talk about that and look specifically at that unique situation. If you want to buy a duplex, triplex, fourplex, like I'm always doing myself, then we should talk about that unique situation. Call me anytime, 503-869-7303. Send me an email, go to my website, jeff@oregonplex.com. And I look forward to talking to you about your unique duplex, triplex, fourplex purchase or sale. Take care.